Alright, here we are with the Wilhorse. I have no idea what actual model it is. There's no manufacturer plate on it. This is all I get for a sticker. I'm sure there's a 468 something that goes in front of the 75, but I have no idea what it is. So I went ahead and removed foot coverings over here, which foot covering goes like that. Then there's a side panel that runs in here like such. So I took those out to get a better idea of what's actually happening underneath here. This project, I'm learning more about this as I go, so I'm kind of taking my time with it. And I did the same over here. There was a foot panel that goes there, and a mounting bracket, or another bracket panel that goes in for the belt to run. Now, take it off and I'll show you. Take the panel off. Okay, so there's a belt that runs back here to this, which is a hydraulic pump, I've come to realize. You have a tensioner here, which allows your belt to have tension, and then the other half just runs up to the motor. And I'm sorry about the motor, but I've got it pulled out and in the shop because I had just got it working well, and I don't want it sitting out in the weather while I'm working on the frame. I think today I'm going to work on getting this deck out of here. It's very old and very beat up. I've kind of gone back and forth with trying to figure out if I want to run the deck or not, to turn it into a mower and just restore it, or turn it into a trail rider. This, I have no idea what it does. Not a clue. Right here is a valve for the hydraulics. Now I have traced the lines down. I've got a line that comes out of the pump somewhere. Where's it go? Comes, well, I don't really, it goes down below here. Follow this line here. But it comes out of the pump, goes into filter for the hydraulic filter, comes out, follows this line, which goes to the back half of this valve. Now it comes out of the valve and goes into a hydraulic piston. Now I had thought the hydraulic piston was part of the braking system. I thought it was a hydraulic brake. It turns out that is not the case. The brake is mechanical completely to your brake. However, this lever inside here runs in, goes to a chain, and the chain goes down to the deck. So that valve literally just controls your deck height. Also found on the back half that there's a cable here. Okay, now this cable controls the height of whatever attachment it is that you have. So your attachment goes on here. These bolts run one in, one out, or vice versa, and that controls how that device sits on there. If you're running a plow, you can turn your plow sideways one way or the other, doesn't matter, or any other attachment that you had for this. So it pivots on here. This changes how far it pivots. So, and it's also fairly free floating, so if you hit something hard or rough, it should bounce up on its own so it doesn't get stuck. But this chain here with the cable is what runs your overall height for that unit. Been looking around for it. There really is no reservoir that I can find, an independent reservoir for hydraulic fluid. What I have found is that, of course, here's your dipstick for your hydraulic fluid, but your hydraulic fluid and gear lube is all in the same unit. So the transfer case is your reservoir. So it pulls directly out of your transfer case, runs to the pump, and then back out of the pump to turn gears, and what's left over just falls down and gets recycled over and over and over again. Yeah, I've got an axle leaking over here, which I've got to get figured out. Of course, this lever here is this lever. Goes inside here, which of course she's a little stuck, but that I imagine is reverse and forward. I don't know if there's any other gears other than that. I wouldn't think so, but I could be wrong by that. This is your PTO drive, which I will end up removing. The PTO engages off the front of the motor here, of the side of the motor. So crankshaft runs here with pulley. You engage the PTO, it locks the pulleys together, allowing the power transfer. Dog. The steering's a little sloppy, but it's not giving up. It's got a little play in it, but it's not too bad. And it appears to be solid once you get it moved over, but it's got a little more play in it than I think I want. Pretty sure, kind of hard to see here, but the bushings there, or bearings, or whatever it is that's down in there for the bottom half are loose. I can wiggle it by hand. Cool part is that there's another bearing on the opposite side of this, keeping it all nice and sturdy, which is great. This pulley up here is for the belt drive system to run the deck, and there's an adjuster knob on the front, which is how you get your tension for your belt settings, which is neat and crazy all at the same time. It's been a chore. But my favorite part about the whole unit really is, look how massive the motor compartment is, to be able to put anything you want in here. And I'm kind of curious of if I ever blow this original motor up, or if somebody decides to purchase it for a large amount, then I might consider possibly putting a Harley motor in there. Drivetrain here, I won't have to worry about engaging it to the pump. Of course, I've got to figure out how that works all in itself. But I would be able to remove this pulley, change this pulley out, and have the belt that has the, well, what do you want to call it? The ribbed belt. It's a belt that's ribbed so it doesn't lose traction like these do. Because these are just a regular V-belt, which that one's pretty much gone. But if I change that out, then I won't have belt slippage. I'll have a clutch on the system because I'll have the motor and trans hanging out here. And then you run your belt straight to there with a clutch of some sort somewhere, either a foot clutch or a hand clutch. And that's how you would engage and disengage your power. So, got a lot to think about, a lot of work to do here. I think for the time being, I'm just going to keep the original motor in it. I'm going to take off all the items that are needed to be a mower. So the deck is going to come out and be gone. The PTO cable here can disappear completely. the hydraulic system for the deck and that's all it does, is raise and lower the deck. I can pull it off the system altogether because there's no need for it anymore. Not to mention I have no idea if it even works. That means this valve here can go away also, which is cool. Now, the deal with that is though, so I got to figure out how to. I might end up putting a reservoir tank. I might extend the back half out, put a reservoir tank in there, have a battery put in there in the back half, so then I can run my return or my supply to the valve here. I can run it off to a reservoir tank and then have it return to wherever it needs to return. That will give me a lot more fluid to work with, so if I have any fluid issues, leakage, things of that nature, it'll last longer before it runs out. Not to mention temperature was going to be a very big deal with it. If I'm going to be spinning it faster than it needs to be, or it wasn't originally intended to be, then I'm going to most definitely have to find a way to keep it a lot more cool. And to do that, I believe running it through probably like a transmission cooler and then into a reservoir, or vice versa, run it in the reservoir and then through a transmission cooler. It doesn't really matter where I put it on the system. It will still serve its function. If I do that, the chances are this fan here can go away altogether, because that's essentially its cooling system right here, is by running the fan into these fins back here to keep the pump cool. Well, if I'm cooling the fluid directly, I won't need this anymore. I can get rid of that, which is great because I don't know where in the world you would find one of these. So, but today we're going to work on getting the deck out. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.